Hi all, welcome to my channel, welcome to my world. This is the world of Wayne. It's Monday, which means it's time for the next 10 stages of the Eagle Moss release of Build a James Bond DB5. Now once again, I don't know if this is still available anywhere at the moment. I have put a link in the video description, but who knows, might come out another generation through. But I do have now the opportunity to build this. Now before I go on, the instructions in this build make absolutely no sense at all. When you watch this video that I'm doing now, I'm cracking myself up laughing at how just crazy they all are. They are absolutely crazy. Now there is a website which was created by one of my patrons actually, MarvelPHX, and it's called myjamesbonddb5.com, and I've put a link in the video description, and I think I'm actually going to use that website to build this whole thing rather than looking at the instructions. I will show you what the instructions look like on the screen, just so you can laugh with me. But trust me, go over to that website. If you're building this, you're not going to have any problems at all. The amount of detail that MarvelPHX has gone into is unbelievable, but it's a great, it looks like it's a great build. I've looked through the whole website already. Anyway, let's start with stage 11. Without further ado, let's get cracking. So stage 11 here, as you can see, we've got the right engine block and we've got an oil filter assembly. We're going to be putting the oil filter just onto the side here, and we are actually going to start putting the engine together. So let's open stage 11 up. And so the thing I do love about this build is how everything is wrapped individually in their own little cases here. Protects everything, so it's lovely and neat. Okay, so this is what that side of the engine looks like. You see we've got a lug down here and we've got the oil filter, which is just going to push into this. It's shaped so it can only go in one way, making sure it's lined up. There we go, that's pushed in perfect. Now we're going to take the top of the engine, which we worked in the last few stages there, because we're going to start attaching this together. So we do need both sides of the engine block here, and these are just going to be pieced together like this. There you go. So that fits together perfectly like that. In here, we're going to be putting Type C screws. Now, if you look at the screw guide, and I'm going to use the screwdriver as a reference now, so that you can actually see what screws we're putting in. But Type C screws look like this. End on the screen there. They're quite longer than the D ones. They're just going to go in here. Now, we are going into metal. So I'll put a bit of oil on here. And that's the first one going in. And that's the second one. I want to make sure they're tight enough so there's no gaps, there's no parting in there, but that looks good. Oh look, my oil filter's just fallen out. Let's put that back in as well. I'm not gluing any of these in, just so you know. They haven't told me to, so I'm just going to put them in like that. We're then going to be putting the top head on, making sure this lines up and it's round the right way. This is going to go on just like that, and in the two holes that we've got in the top there, we're going to be putting those in with size D screws. Now these are the size D screws. On my one they're actually silver, but again, look at the picture, you'll be able to see how these look. So here's the first one. Now quick problem here is to get the size D screw into this side here, I'm going to have to remove the distributor here, because there's no way I'm going to get a screw in there while that's over the top of it. So a bit of a crazy side that is. So what I'm going to do is just take that out so I can remove that, and I'll put it back in a second, just like that. So it is just a push in, but it is going to be tricky trying to get that in when that's in the way. We don't want that. So get this in as tight as I can. One, and the other side here, two, and then I'll put this distributor cap back in. That's in all the way, and then get me tweezers out here just to make sure everything is back in where it needs to be, including all of these pipes into the end of this rail. And that is all there is to do in that stage. So in stage 12, we've got a lot of engine parts here, from the crankshaft pulley to the alternator fan to the screen washer. We're going to be putting these, we're going to start attaching them onto the engine area. Some of the things we can't do at the moment because obviously we haven't created this surround yet. So we're going to get to work trying to figure out what we can do. So as you can see, the first thing we got on here is the rear bulkhead. That looks like that. It's already got a pipe attached to it. We're not actually going to do anything at the moment with that. We're waiting for the right bulkhead that comes on the right hand side. That's going to come into the next stage. But what we are going to be doing is we're going to be working on some of the engine pieces here. And as you can see, we do have a screen washer which is going to be clipping into that bulkhead that comes in issue 13. Not at the moment, so we've got to keep that to one side. But we will open these parts here for the engine, which is the crankshaft pulley, alternator fan, alternator pulley, torsional vibration dampener. Let's get all these out. So the first thing we want to do is we want to take the alternator here and the pulley system that's going to go at the end. This is going to rotate around just like that, so the belt can go around here. And that's just going to go into the case just here. So push that in, getting around the blades here. Let's see if I can get this in without removing it. There we go, I can. And then to push that all the way home, so it's fixed into place just like that. Then we've got this, which is the torsional vibrator dampener. Now you have got some marks on the back here, which are just some mold lines. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put that so they're facing this timing belt cover here, so you don't actually see them. And that's just going to go into the hole here. So put that in and make sure that's fitting perfectly flat as well. And there we go, we've got 3 parts in there like that. Now what we can do is now put the belt, so it's not twisted, around all of those pulleys. Put one around the bottom one there, one around this one. Make sure there's no twists in here. I've got a twist in mind, so let's get that out. So there we go, that looks absolutely perfect. Now we do get some screws in this, but they're not actually labelled at all. These are actually size Q screws. We have actually seen these before. In fact, mine I put in my screw box down here, so I'm just going to add them to that so I know what size screws they are. But what we're going to do is just take this timing cover and going to actually attach this to this side of the engine here. So it's going to follow the shape and go this way round, and it's just a push in to fit. So once I've got it there, I'll push it down. As a matter of fact, it's going to be quite a tight fit, so I am just going to help it along. We'll put in some oil just around the insides of this. It should slip in nice and easy. And there you go. The oil does help on that, but that's that timing belt cover in with the alternator and fan on that. And that's all there is to do in that stage. Okay, stage 13, we've got the header tank and we've got the left and right bulkhead. This is what we've been waiting for. We've also got the right brake servo. So we're going to start attaching things to the inside housing of the engine in this stage. Now this is where the instructions are all over the place, because obviously this we need to put in. It doesn't tell us to put it in this issue because it told us to put it in the last issue, which we couldn't do because we didn't have this side of the tank. So you can see how things get confusing here. But basically this has got lugs on the bottom, and this is just going to go into place just here like this. And this is going to be held in with 2 of the Q screws that I just put in my screw box. So I've got one here. These are the flange screws, and once again with Q screws I've just put them on the screen so you can see what they look like. With the spare ones here, I'm just going to write a big Q on the packet because there isn't enough slots for all the screws that we've got. That adds an even greater depth of challenge for you. Okay, and here's the second one. And there we go, that's the washer in, no problems at all. Then we're going to be putting the power box or the header tank in. That's going to go into these 2 holes here. It's going to go this way round. Now when you put it in, it's just going to line up with the bottoms here. It doesn't go all the way down, as you can see, but once again that's going to be held in with size Q screws. So that's one in, and there you go, that's the second one in as well. So now we've got both sections looking just like that. Now we do have some more parts to be fitted to this, including this here, but they don't want it to be put together like the actual housing here. They say they're telling us how to put it together, but they don't want us to put it together until the next stage. So as far as things go, that's all there is to do in that stage. So stage 14, as you can see here, we've got loads more bits to go in that. We've actually got 3 different tyres screws, Q, L, and a type P. That's a new one, I believe. And we're going to actually start putting these details into the housing of what we've got here that we weren't meant to do anything with. So let's see how that looks. I'm just laughing to myself here because I'm going to open this up, and you're going to see something in this pack which is going to make you laugh. And that is that we've got, obviously we've got one of these here, but we've also got another one here. They're not to be confused, they are different ways, or they are shaped like different. Now you'd expect the one that we had from the last stage to be the first thing we install, but no. The one we want is in this stage, which looks like that. Now the difference is, as I said, they're not symmetrical, so if I hold them that way, they actually point off in different directions. So the one I want looks just like this, and it's actually going to go next to the filler tank here, and I'm just going to put this in to show you what this looks like. Just like this. Whoops, get it in there. There's a little lug, you see, so you've got to push the lug in. And then that goes in, so you can see that's what it looks like from that side. Ah, that was fun. Okay. It's going to be held in once again with one of our favourite type Q screws. So I have that here. We'll just get that into the hole just down here. Excellent. Nice and tight. Now I'm going to open all of these bags up now so we can see what we've got. And in the process of opening bags up, I'm about to open this one here, which has got screws in it. Now remember I said that we've got different kinds of screws in this one. Unfortunately, they're not labelled at all, and they've all been mixed together. So that screw guide is going to be valuable to help us out where each one of these screws go. So I'm going to sort them out here. So the Q ones we know have got the flange on them. So I'm going to put them over here. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of those. No, we've got 8 of those. I'm lying to you. We've got 9 of those. We've got 2 of these ones, which are L screws, which means these thin ones here are size P screws. So that's how you know what they are. Again, just look at the pictures on the My James Bond DB5 website, because that will really help you out. So we're going to take this flexible tube here. It's actually fixed, but it looks flexible. And that's just going to be going with this lug in here, just into the top of this section, just like that. It's going to be held in from the other side here with a size L screw, which we do know now is one of the big ones here that we had 2 of. Put that all the way in. There we go, that's fixed. Perfect. Now this is going to go onto the filter here, and as you can see, we've got 2 holes here that we just need to make sure line up. So we get this in, so it's lined up there. That looks good, and if it's lined up correctly and the holes are correct, we can actually put some screws in there, and they're going to be the P screws, which are the thinner versions of those. Every time I mention a screw now, I'm going to put a picture of it on the screen, which again I got from the My James Bond DB5.com website. And here's the second one. And there we go, that holds that all in place. Now this here is the airbox. As you can see, we've got a protruding peg on this side here. We're just going to match off the D shape to this, to that peg there. So make sure it's all lined up and then push that in so that sits like that. Okay, so we're going to be taking the right hand side bulkhead here. This is going to be going in that section there. And all we're going to do is take these lugs. It's just going to fit over this panel here, so it clips against that edge just like that. And it's going to be held in from this side with size Q screws. So here's the first one. Nice and tight. And then lastly, here's the second one. And that's perfect. So that should look just like that. Now that's in place, we can actually fit this one, which came in the last stage. And that's just going to go into this section just here. So once again, we're going to line that up. If I put it flat, it ensures that I'm actually pushing flat. There we go. And once again, held on the other side with a size Q screw. And then finally, we've got the alternator control, which if you looked at the instructions, they had this in right from the start. So it's grateful that we do actually have this. It's just been put in the wrong order. That's just going to go into this section just here. So I'll push that in. It can only go one way because of how big the lugs actually are. Now you will need to manipulate it around the tank here so it fits underneath like that. But it does line up at the bottom once again. Size Q screw to keep that down. All we've got left to do then is we've got the brake fluid reservoirs that look like that. They're just going to go into the rear bulkhead here. Now, as you see, they do have like a keyhole pattern, so they can only go in one way. They're going to go in just like this, that way round. Once again, held in with a size Q screw. So, one here. Excellent. And we do exactly the same next to it. Make sure it's lined up. Push it in, size Q screw. There we go. And they're in place as well. So we can now clip all of these parts together. So I'll give you an idea of how this looks. So this one's just going to go on this side over here and just slot it in. And then you know it's in because it's nice and flush on there, as you can see. We'll just do the same on the other side. And there we go. That's nice and flush on that side as well. And that's what the housing now looks like. And that's all there is to do in that stage. Now what we do need to do is keep these screws safe. So we've got size Q screws, size P screws, and one size L screw left. So in stage 15 here, we've got our first wheel. We've got the starter solenoid, blower trunking, and an ignition coil. So we are going to be able to put some of these things in, which is a good thing. We're not going to be able to do the wheel rims yet because we don't have the rim. So it's nice showing us this, but until we actually get a rim, there's nothing we can do with that. That's all there is to do in that stage. So I'll get this open. Once again, I'll have a moan about these instructions. Wow. They are, wow. I don't know what to say. If I didn't know this build from previous history, I'd say they were a joke. But there we go. This is the tyre. Quite more flexible than the other ones, actually. But that looks pretty cool. But not going to do anything with that, so we can keep that to one side. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to be putting the starter solenoid in. That looks like that. If I bring over the housing again, this is just going to go onto the back section there, just in the hole you can see there. No screws for this one. This just gets pushed in. Just going to make sure it's straight. There we go. That fits in like that. The next thing we've got is the ignition coil, looking like that. And if you look in the housing, you have got a spare space just on that side, a large hole and a small lug, just going to be going into here like this. And then, surprise, surprise, we're actually going to be holding that in with a size Q screw again. Just from the underside here. Excellent. And then over this section here, we're going to be putting the blower, which looks like that. It's going to match the same shape as that, and it just pushes in. This is going to go over the top like that. So when you push it in, it should look like that. That looks really impressive, actually. Now it is going to go into the hole in the wall on this side. So I'm just going to line that up so it is lined up. And then once again, we're going to hold that in place with a size Q screw. And that is all there is to do in that stage. So stage 16 here, finally we have the rim. So now we can actually start assembling tyres. It looks like we're doing some brake discs as well. But that's all there is to do. So let's get on with this one. And this is what the parts look like. Now the reason I'm showing you in depth, this is metal by the way, one of the calipers here, is because we don't actually do anything. I really thought we might be starting to fix this to the tyre, but we don't. So I'm going to put these to one side and we'll move swiftly on to pack 17. Okay, part 17, as you can see, we've got the rest of the tyre here, so we can actually start doing something now, and perhaps even mounting that disc, we'll have to see. Just because the instructions say it, doesn't necessarily mean we're going to be doing it. But just so you know, in this pack, we've got size C screws, size C, those ones. So Again, I'll put that on the screen so you can see what that looks like. Get all of these parts open. So we want this rim, which came in the last stage with the spokes on it. We want this metal frame like this. Now, as you can see, we do have 2 lugs, 1, 2 on each section here. Now, these are going to align with the 2 holes here and here. So when I put these in, just put them in gently, you can get an idea of how they're going to sit. Now, you know you've got them in the right hole because all the other things around here are going to line up with the holes onto that section there. So we're going to screw that down with some of the size C screws that we just got in this stage. What I'm going to do is I'm going to open these size C screws just into my screw box because I've got a place for them. And you're going to want to put a little bit of oil just on these to get these in. So, one there. One here. It's going to be 4 in total we're putting in. One here. And finally, just one on this side here. Now we're going to put these 2 parts together. Now you do have a larger lug compared to the other one. And if you look at the lugs that these are going to go into, you've got a larger one there. So just line them up. And once you're happy with the fit, push them together. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. That's one full rim completed. Now I'm just seeing if there's any side of this tyre that says outside. There isn't. But what we're going to do is we're going to be pushing this into here so it covers inside. So I have put that just into some warm water there. Put my cloth down again. So fish this out and we'll just get this through here. And when it's been heated like this, as you can see, it's a lot easier to get in here. Make sure that the rim is all the way through on both sides. Looking good, looking good. Not happy on this side yet. Almost. Ah, that's perfect. So I'm just going to dry this off with my water. That's interesting. Where the water's gone under the mat, look, you got watermarks there. Oh well. Anyway, that's all there is to do in that stage. So stage 18, we're going to be working on the front disc here, putting that together just as you can see there, and that's all there's going to be to do in that stage. So I'll open the parts here, remembering we do still have this metal part from the previous stages. Now in this one, we do have some size Z screws. They look like that. And we do also have like a washer here, which I'm just going to get open. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take one of the type Z screws and put the washer just over the end here. We're going to be taking the brake disc, as you can see here, and that's just going to go over this end of the caliper that we had in the previous one, sliding that in. So now that looks like that. And then from the other side here, we're going to be taking this massive screw. That's going to go through. So as you can see, it comes out the other side there. And then that is going to be screwed into this side of the wheel here. So we need to make sure it's lined up and sitting flat, because it is a square sort of hole in there. And then we can just screw this all the way down. So now that caliper is attached to the wheel. And then on the other side here, we have got a little spinner to put on. That just fits over the top here. It's not magnetic, it just needs to be pushed on though. Make sure it's flush, like that. That's all there is to do in that stage. Now stage 19, just like last time, we've got some parts here for making the caliper for the next wheel and the rim, but I'll get these out because just like last time, we don't do anything. we're just gonna look at them. That's all there is to do in that stage. Now I'm not even going to open stage 20 because you see it's another part of the wheel rim here, but we need the metal section in the inside to actually attach any of this to, which we can't do. So once again, issue 20, nothing to do. That's all there is to do in that stage, and that's all there is to do in the next 10 packs. And there you go. You see what I mean about those instructions? Pretty crazy, isn't it? But thank you, MarvelPHX, for creating that website, because that really did help me out. Anyway, really do hope you liked that video. If you did, please remember to give me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed already, please remember to subscribe. There might not be a video tomorrow. There's no live stream tomorrow anyway. And the reason being is I was meant to have a carpet fitted today, and it got cancelled, so it's been moved till tomorrow. So I don't know if I'm going to have time to make a video or not. But we will see. If there's one on the channel, it's always a bonus. Take care.